Well, hello, friends and neighbors. Dr. Ken Berry here with you this evening. Going to go through some news articles that I've seen across the internet that are confusing millions of people. And we're going to go through some of these. Some of them get it right. Some of them get it wrong. Most of them get it wrong. And we're going to go through those, and I'm going to help you understand why you should always be very cautious and very mistrusting of corporate media. They are very often beholden to their advertisers, and so if they get millions of ad dollars from big food companies, big pharma companies, then they're gonna toe the party line. They don't want to lose those millions of dollars of ad income. If they cause one of you guys to develop type 2 diabetes, oh well, it's terrible, but not a big deal to them, as long as they don't lose their funding from their sponsors. And so we're going to go through some of this stuff. And then after we do the news, I'm going to answer some of your questions. And if you want to bump your question to the top, you can include it in a super chat. That's definitely not mandatory. But if you want to bump it to the top, that's how you do it. All right, let me see if I can do this. Every now and then I get this right. Let's do the entire screen. No, we'll do a window. That's what we'll do. Yes. Okay. There we go. Okay. First up is a tweet. There are several vegan accounts on Twitter, X, and I'm very active on X, always trying to help people understand the truth of the matter. And here is a tweet from an account called Veganuary. Now, first of all, there's a big argument on X as to whether January is World Carnivore Month or whether it's Veganuary. Now, I'd love it if you told me in the comments which one you're going to be celebrating. And it's fine if you're not celebrating either. If you're just going to eat a proper human diet, whether that's low carb or keto or ketovore, that's fine. But are you planning on celebrating World Carnivore Month in January, starting January 1? Or will you be celebrating Veganuary? So I have several problems with my vegan brothers and sisters, but here's one. They very, very often give out completely false nutrition advice. So the tweet says, 3 vegan festive foods that are a great source of vitamin A. Which is your favorite? Carrots or broccoli or dried apricots? Now, for those of you who study nutrition or follow me online, you're going to know immediately something's up with this. What's up? Do you know? Tell me in the comments. What did they get wrong? And you can see where I replied down below. These foods contain no vitamin A at all. Carrots don't contain any vitamin A at all. They contain beta-carotenoids, beta-carotene, and there's several different ones. And some of us can convert some of that beta-carotene into retinol vitamin A, which is actual vitamin A. Many of us are very poor converters. Broccoli doesn't contain any real vitamin A. It's rich in beta-carotene, not really much because it's a green food. It's not a colorful food. Dried apricots have got a little beta-carotene, but they don't have any vitamin A whatsoever. Also, notice that they posted this 2 days ago, and it's gotten 10 hearts, 10 likes in 2 days. So what I've been noticing over the last year is that the vegan movement is dying. I think a lot of their, Impossible Burger and all the fake meat burgers, their stocks are tanking. People are selling their stocks. There's no way they're ever going to turn a profit. Some of them have went out of business. Many of the vegan food companies are going out of business. And it's because of stuff like this. This is literally false. And so can you imagine a young mother she's like, I want to do the best thing for the world, for the animals. I'm going to feed my baby a vegan diet. And she's like, oh, I know babies need vitamin A for brain development. So I'm going to start giving my baby lots of carrots and broccoli and dried apricots. And imagine if that baby is genetically a poor converter of beta carotene into retinol vitamin A. Her poor baby's brain is going to suffer, nerves are going to suffer, entire body's going to suffer. IQ will probably be affected because this young mother was trying to do what she thought was the right thing. And the January misled her and said, oh, yeah, carrots are a great source of vitamin A, when there's actually no vitamin A in carrots whatsoever. And so if any of you guys are like, well, God, I thought carrots had vitamin A. What are foods that have vitamin A? I have a YouTube video on my channel called Vitamin A Rich Foods, and you can actually learn which foods contain real, actual vitamin A. Next up, check this out. Check out Herbie Dotson. Somebody was asking for carnivore success stories, and Herbie posted a before and after. Look at his September 2022 picture. And look at his March 2024. Does Herbie look healthier to you in March of 2024? He looks healthier to me and happier to me. I just want to give a shout out to Herbie. So here's an article from IFL Science. And now they sometimes have good articles and sometimes they don't. So the title is Some Teabags Release Millions of Microplastics That Could Enter Intestinal Cells. Yeah, and indeed could get into your bloodstream and could indeed get into every single cell in your body that we've studied. And so if you like tea and make tea, that's fine, but you need to know this. Many tea companies put their tea leaves in plastic bags. It looks like a little mesh bag. And you're like, I don't know, maybe it's, cheesecloth or something. No, that'd be too expensive. These companies are trying to save money. That's a plastic mesh bag. And when you brew that plastic mesh in a cup of hot water to brew your tea, you're releasing millions of microplastics and nanoplastics, which your body will absorb. This has been proven. And then will be taken up by your bones, your testicles, your ovaries, your liver, your brain. Literally every human organ that we have looked at in a histology lab contains microplastics and nanoplastics. So if you love tea and want to make tea, buy one of those little stainless steel balls and buy loose leaf tea and put it in the stainless steel ball. Do not put these mesh plastic bags in hot water, okay? And then you can extrapolate that advice to basically don't let any hot food or hot liquid touch anything plastic, okay? Don't warm up your food in Tupperware. Don't put your hot food after your meal into Tupperware before it's cooled off. Don't ever cook in any kind of plastic. Don't use plastic spoons. Don't drink your coffee out of plastic or styrofoam cups. Nobody knows just how bad the nanoplastics and the microplastics are. It could turn out to be really, really bad, or it could turn out to be, it's not that big of a deal. It's not good, but not catastrophic. But I've heard a couple of experts saying this could potentially be a catastrophic, and I hope that's not the case. All you can do there, and then let me say this: there is no detox for this. Dr. Rhonda Patrick says if you eat foods rich in sulforaphane, this may help you urinate out some nanoplastics and microplastics that are in your body. You may sweat some out, maybe. I don't know if I believe that or not. There's not any meaningful research to support that. The only thing you can do is going forward from this instant in time right now into the future is to minimize your exposure. That's all you can do. Cook in glass, cook in stainless steel, cook in copper, use silicone. Do not cook in plastic. Do not put hot foods in plastic. Now, I think plastic, if you're going to you put room temperature food, If you've got Tupperware and you're like, dude, I can't afford to buy anything right now. Okay, let the food cool to room temperature. Put it in the Tupperware and then put it in the refrigerator or in the freezer. I think using plastic at refrigerated temperatures or freezer temperatures is not nearly as bad as room temperature or higher foods or liquids coming into contact with plastic. Next up is an article from BuzzFeed. I'm not sure why BuzzFeed publishes health articles, but they do very often, and millions of people read it. So that's why I have to comment on it. So here's a list of foods cardiologists say they would never touch and the reasons why. Now, before I even scroll through this, can you guess at least two of the foods that they're going to say you shouldn't touch? Put it in the comments. Guess the two foods. And let's see if you get them right. I mean, guess more than two if you want to, but I think everybody who watches this channel knows at least two foods they're going to say, oh, never eat that. All right. First of all, listen to this. This is weird. Chopped liver. These are doctors literally telling you not to eat liver. But why? Why? Well, because liver is high in saturated fat. Yeah. Even though the research very clearly shows the weakest of associations between eating saturated fat and any bad health outcome. There's no meaningful research on this whatsoever. They say that liver is a red meat that's extremely high in fat. And then they also attempt to say that it might contain trans fats as well. Come on. We know what contain trans fats. It's now against the law. Number two, breakfast sausages. So let's think about this. Now, what the picture they show is bread and cheese and sausage and bacon, but they say breakfast sausages. So what's in sausage? Ground up meat, salt, and spices. That's how you make sausage. So if your sausage just contains those three ingredients, how is that in any way bad? Oh, again, it's got a high in sodium, which anybody who watches this channel, you know, to salt your food to taste. Salt is not the devil. Salt is actually good for you. You need to make sure you get enough salt. Too high in salt, too high in saturated fat, too high in cholesterol. Now, even the American Heart Association came out and said eating cholesterol doesn't raise your cholesterol. They took that out of their guidelines back in 2015. They used to warn people, don't eat more than 300 milligrams of cholesterol a day. Now, also, I want you to see this. It says, Claudius, that's the nutritionist, noted that all processed meats, including sausages, ham, and bacon, have been classified as carcinogens by the World Health Organization. Now, there's a rumor that our new president, who will be taking office January 20th here in the United States, is going to immediately withdraw the United States from the World Health Organization. So I guess after January 20th, we won't really have to care what the World Health Organization has to say. Now, the reason they say that sausage causes cancer, the World Health Organization, is because it contains nitrates. I want you to remember that, because it's going to come back and be important later in another news story. Margarine. Hey, I agree. Yes, you shouldn't eat margarine. Of course, they say it's just as bad as butter, that you should opt for olive oil, because olive oil has a completely different taste than butter. That you can't replace butter with olive oil. Butter is a health food. Butter is good for you, especially pastured butter. It's rich in all the fat-soluble vitamins, many other vitamins and minerals in butter. Yes, do avoid margarine. I totally agree. Steak. There you go. Did you guess steak? Yeah, steak, because it's high in saturated fat. So these cardiologists they've hung their hat on eating saturated fat is going to make you have a heart attack, even though the research, when you do the meta-analysis of all the studies that are actually good studies, it's background noise. Steak, eat the fattiest steak that you can afford to buy. Don't trim the fat off. And then there it is. Yes, you knew it. You knew it was coming. Bacon. Bacon is too high in salt, too high in saturated fat. And also it'll cause cancer, according to the World Health Organization. Then deep fried chicken. Now, I agree with the picture, but not with the statement. Okay. If you bread your chicken and then fry it in canola oil, yes, do not touch that. Don't even feed that to your dog. But did you know, I found this out just by trial and error. You don't actually have to bread chicken to fry it. Did you know that? I found this out a few years back. I was just like, well, because I couldn't get coconut flour or almond flour to stick to the chicken. I'm like, I'm just going to throw it in the grease and fry it. And I fried my chicken in pork fats, lard, and it was freaking delicious. Chicken legs and chicken thighs fried in lard. I'm sure you could fry them in beef tallow. That'd be delicious as well. Don't fry them in butter. It takes too much butter, and also the butter, the smoke point's not right for frying. But lard, you can fry chicken legs and chicken thighs in lard. It is delicious. So I disagree with deep fried chicken unless you're going to bread it and then fry it in a vegetable seed oil. Then yes, avoid that. And donuts, finally something that makes sense. Yes, I 100% agree. You shouldn't eat donuts. And then bologna. Here we go with bologna again. What's in bologna? Bologna is ground up meat, salt, and spices. That's what bologna is. Now, of course, you can buy some that have all kinds of added crap, added chemicals and stuff. But if you read the ingredients, you can find a clean bologna that's just ground up meat, spices, and salt. Bologna, if you buy the right kind, is a health food, just like hot dogs, just like bacon, just like steak. These are health foods that these cardiologists are saying, don't eat this. Okay, so then, of course, they say you need to eat a Mediterranean diet. Nobody even knows what that is. Now, here's one from Parade magazine. Millions of people read the Parade website. This drink may lower blood pressure, according to studies. Now, I like the honesty. They put the word may, because you guys know if you see the word may in a title, you can replace that with what? May not. So just imagine if they had put that. This drink may not help lower blood pressure, according to studies. That would be, you'd be way less likely to click on this article, even though that title is equally true. May equals may not. Now, I'm not going to keep you in suspense. The kind of tea they're talking about is hibiscus tea. First of all, very expensive. A lot of people don't have access to this. So their Parade's kind of showing their privilege here. Like, okay, who the hell? I don't even know where to buy hibiscus tea, first of all. Secondly, my friends would laugh at me if I drank hibiscus tea. So now let's talk about, does it actually lower your blood pressure? Some studies show it may lower your blood pressure 2 or 3 points. So if your blood pressure, your top number was 140, it might lower it to 137, 138. So literally nothing meaningful whatsoever. If you just uncross your legs and sit for 15 minutes before you check your blood pressure, you'll lower your blood pressure way more than hibiscus tea will. So yeah, another dumb article from Parade magazine. Now, here's a good article. I like this one. This is from Women's Health. What is a gut microbiome test, and do I need one? Now, I'm going to summarize this because you don't need to read all this. They all think they need to make the articles 3 pages long. And I learned a great tip from I was watching a YouTube interview with an ex-CIA agent. He said, never read the first 3 paragraphs of any news article. That's just fluff, or that's where the propaganda is going to be. He said, skip the first 3 paragraphs. And so I tried that with this article. And so I just went and read the last article. The bottom line, gut microbiome tests may sound exciting, but they're more of a novelty than a necessity. They can tell you what microbes are in your gut, but they don't offer you the kind of tailored, actionable advice that justifies their hefty price tag. Basically, the summation of this article is we don't know which bacteria you should have in your gut to start with. We know a few that those are probably bad. We know a few, those are probably good. But there are thousands of bacteria in the average poop sample. That's how you do microbiome testing. You take a little poop sample and send it off in the mail. Nobody knows, not even the preeminent poop scientists on planet Earth, know which bacteria you should have and which bacteria you shouldn't have. They do not know what ratio of this to that bacteria. It's all hypothesis at this point. Now, maybe 10 or 15 years from now, you can get some good information from a poop sample for microbiome testing. But currently, you're not going to learn anything. And 99% of these companies, because I've done this with 3 different companies, they all come back and say, well, it's your bacteria is pretty good, but you're missing this and that and that. And then, oh, look, we sell this big line of supplements that will help your gut microbiome. It'll help your gut bacteria. So buy our supplements. Come on. So yes, this article in Women's Health is exactly right. Gut microbiome testing is a fun party trick, but you're not going to gain any useful information whatsoever from it. And if you buy the supplements from the gut microbiome testing company, you've wasted your money. Next article. Today. Remember the Today Show? People used to actually watch that. This is today.com. Which cooking oil is healthiest? A dietitian shares #1 pick and the ones to avoid. Now, any of you guys want to guess in the comments which ones they said to avoid and which ones they said to pick? I was kind of shocked at the one they said was the most unhealthy. I figured it would be lard or butter, but it wasn't. So big, long article again here. Skip all the first stuff. The reason that they're basing is saturated fat. Choose one that's low in saturated fat. You want a non-tropical plant source. They don't really say why, except that coconuts and palm oil, palm plants, they grow in the tropics. So they're both high in saturated fat, which is, again, as we said earlier, not bad for you. So, but that's is ridiculous. Refined versus unrefined. I agree with this. You don't want refined. You want unrefined. Yes. And then which is best for heating? They say don't use butter or olive oil because the smoke point. Yes, that's true. Now, they say the healthiest cooking oil is olive oil, but you should cook it at low heat. Other healthy cooking oils, avocado, yeah, it's fine. Canola, no. Corn oil, no. Peanut oil, no. Safflower, no. Soybean, absolutely not. Grapeseed, no, it's even worse than canola oil. And sunflower oil, no, it's even worse than canola. So they get everything wrong in this article, except avocado and olive oil are decent oils if you want to cook at low heat. What is the least healthy? It's coconut oil because it's from the tropics, because that magically matters, but it's really super high in saturated fat. And that's why it's so bad. So the healthiest cooking oils, in case you're wondering, are lard, butter, and beef tallow. Avocado oil is fine. Olive oil is fine at low temperatures. Coconut oil is fine, but cook with animal fats. Your DNA has been eating that for the longest amount of time. Now from the Daily Mail, dermatologist reveals why some people have smelly body odor while others have none. Now, they actually talk about something that's pretty interesting here. Heather Cornmell, who is a Texas-based dermatologist, they have actually found that this is partly genetic. There's an ABCC11 gene that's responsible for you having that whangy underarm odor or not having it so much. And so some people are just genetically more prone to have stinky armpits, whereas other people they just don't have stinky armpits as severe or as often. But what they didn't mention in this article, that's a nice picture. What they didn't mention in this article is that tens of thousands of people who have the gene for stinky armpits, when they start eating a carnivore diet and stick to it strictly, their armpits stink way less. They have way less body odor. We've also heard from tens of thousands of people that their feet no longer stink, that they used to have bad breath all the time. They don't have bad breath anymore. Also that they used to be full of gas, very stinky gas, the kind of flatulence that would clear a room, or in some cases peel the paint off the walls in the room. After a few months on a strict carnivore diet, all these odors are much less severe. In many cases, they can go from being quiet but deadly to quiet and unnoticed. And so that's just one of the many, many unsung virtues of a carnivore diet. And then one more article. I'm a dietitian. This is in the New York Post. I'm a dietitian. This is my #1 tip for losing weight. This article loses the internet. This is just the dumbest, worst advice. So this is a registered dietitian, Natalie Rizzo, and she wrote this last week for eatingwell.com. She says you need to graze all day. Yeah. You need to, her top tip for weight loss is to eat more frequently throughout the day to prevent reaching for cookies or chips because you're starving and they're right there. So she literally recommends eating 3 meals a day with snacks in between so that you won't be hungry, so that you won't eat. So I'm not joking. She's saying eat 6 times a day so that you won't be hungry, so that you won't eat 6 times a day. I am confusion. Yes, she's saying eat very often so that you won't eat as often. That's literally what a registered dietitian. This is why when my friends who are registered dietitians, like Michelle Hearn, they're just like, I apologize for all registered dietitians on the face of the earth. I don't think that's a picture of her, so don't. I think that's just a video. But yeah. Eat more often so you won't eat as often. That's the advice. Literally unbelievable. Literally unbelievable. All right, I'm back. Now, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm thinking about making this a regular weekly thing where I just kind of save up the most idiotic news articles I find, because I read hundreds and hundreds of news articles a day about all topics, but obviously medicine, nutrition, pharmacology, all the medical stuff that a doctor should be reading. But I'm thinking about doing a weekly thing where I share the worst and the best that I find online. And so tell me in the comments, would you enjoy that? Is that a good idea, or are you like, meh, whatever? Just let me know in the comments, because I'm thinking about doing that. Let's see if we've got some questions here. Oh man, we've got some people watching, lots of people. Hey, I didn't realize because I couldn't see the screen when I was doing my thing there. Okay, we got a question from Michael here. Been carnivore for 6 months. Wake up every day with a headache. I started carnivore because of chronic insomnia. Recently, my insomnia came back. The only change is I joined the gym and exercise 6 days a week. So, Michael, first and foremost, and this goes for anybody. If any of you guys, well, I don't care what diet you're on, if you're waking up in the morning with a headache, you need to go see your doctor and have a neurological evaluation. This can be a sign that some medical issues going on that you don't want going on. Okay. I'm not saying you got that. I'm just saying you need to go get evaluated, because this could be a sign of something worse. Morning headaches and you're having insomnia, worrisome. Go see your doctor. This almost certainly has nothing to do with the carnivore diet. Robin, I use Soleil water daily, this is just water with salt added. How do I know if I should supplement with the LMNT or similar? So LMNT is an electrolyte supplement. There's several on the market. 59-year-old woman, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, plus cheese, C for cheese, for almost a month. Intermittent fasting, 16 hours a day. So I'm eating 2 meals a day. Sounds like you've got a great strategy, Robin. You may or may not need an electrolyte supplement. The Soleil water is pretty decent. You can actually make your own electrolyte supplements at home. There's lots of videos on YouTube about how to do that. And you can make electrolyte supplement for 3 cents a day instead of, because some of them are quite expensive. LMNT's a good one, but it's pretty expensive. I always use the unflavored because I don't want any of the maltodextrin. And I don't want that sweet taste in my mouth, because I feel like my cephalic phase insulin response is a little more robust than other people. You may or may not, Robin, if you're working out or working on the farm and sweating like a horse, you might need one serving of some electrolyte supplements a day. But if you're like, nah, I'm, inside most of the day, I don't sweat much, then the Soleil water's probably all you need. New guy, don't haze me. Does it matter how we cook eggs? I see a lot of people do hard boiled, which I don't care for. Yeah, I don't like hard boiled either. I think you're overcooking the egg if you do that. I love scrambled. Does this matter in any way? It does matter a little. Now, and so this is a 1% thing. There's not an 80% thing. You guys know I always try to focus on what's the big deal, and over here's this little minor deal. How you cook your eggs is a minor deal. If you want to cook your eggs well done, that's fine. There's still going to be plenty. All the minerals will still be in there, and most of the vitamins will still be in there. But you will lose a little bit of the vitamin content if you cook the yolk solid. And so if you want to keep a higher amount of vitamins in the yolk, because there's no vitamins really in the white, it's all in the yolk, you're going to eat over easy or sunny side up if you fry them. If you scramble them, you're going to let them be very runny. You could soft boiled eggs so that the yolk is still squishy and movable, more like a gel than just Granny Berry, I love her to death, but when she boils eggs, buddy, I think she boils them for 45 minutes or something. You could literally take the yolk out of one of her boiled eggs and throw it across the room and put somebody's eye out with it. That's too done. You want soft boiled or poached eggs where the yolk is still runny. That's the best way. So you want the white to be done because there is this protein in the white of eggs called avidin that there's some limited research that shows might accelerate hair loss in men. So I always cook my whites done, whether that's poached or boiled or scrambled or fried, and then try to keep the yolk as runny as you can. But that's not a huge deal. That's just a little deal. Chris Cooking Nashville. If you guys want great carnivore recipes, great keto recipes, follow Chris Cooking Nashville. He was a chef in a former life at a Michelin restaurant. Chris's mother-in-law may have another kidney stone and had many previous stones. She's doing keto. I'm encouraging Ketovore, Carnivore, other tips to help. Yeah. You got to catch the stone and send it to the pathology lab, Chris. If it's a calcium oxalate stone, she needs to be a carnivore, at least for now. And then once she's been on carnivore for 90 days, then she can start to add back in low oxalate, low carbohydrate foods. So now if she loves meat and eggs and seafood, she can be a carnivore for life. But if she's like, nah, I miss some vegetables, then you can add back in, but they need to be low oxalate and, of course, low carb. Best of luck to her. Tell her we're thinking about her. I've never had a kidney stone, but I hear they are no bueno. Who else had a kidney stone? Tell me in the comments. Have you had a kidney stone? Because I've never had one, but I've had more than one female patient tell me that having a kidney stone, passing a kidney stone, hurts more than natural childbirth. Now, when you say something like that to a man, I'm a smart enough man to go, damn, wow. If a woman's willing to say that, it's got to hurt bad. I don't want it. I've never had one, thank goodness. John 0387, 6 months carnivore, down 117 pounds so far. I'm on day 22 of a 30-day water fast. So Jonathan's doing a longer fast. What is the best way to break a prolonged fast while staying carnivore? So after any fast really over 5 days, you're not going to just sit down and eat a big plate of food. If you do that, you can have something called refeeding syndrome. It's rare, but it can happen. You could also have nausea or diarrhea. The best advice that's worked for many, many people in our private group is to eat a scrambled egg. When you break your fast, just eat a scrambled egg and then wait an hour, and then you can eat a full meal. Or you can sip a cup of bone broth, wait an hour, then fully break your fast with a full meal. You don't want to just go straight to the plate bender meal, or you might have diarrhea or you might get nauseous. And then very rarely refeeding syndrome. Now, let me just tell you guys, I don't really recommend longer fasts like this, but obviously Jono had a lot of weight to lose. And so I'm sure Jono's read Dr. Jason Fung's book, maybe more than one, about fasting. That's really the best fasting book out there is Dr. Jason Fung's book. And Dr. Jason Fung explains very easily in simple language how you can do longer fasts and what the benefits are, how you can do it safely. Most people don't need this, but some people really benefit from it. Thanks for that, Jono. Susie, Dr. Berry, can you talk about carnivore and gluten intolerance? Can I cure it? Probably not. Gluten is a toxin. Gluten, some people are very sensitive to gluten. It's my hypothesis that all humans are sensitive to gluten to some degree. And keep in mind that it's not just wheat that has gluten. All grains have a gluten-like protein in them. And it's in there to discourage you from eating the seeds of the wheat plant. The wheat plant does not want you to eat its seeds. That's its babies. That's its future. That's the only way it can reproduce. And so, no, gluten is inflammatory to everybody to some degree. Now, some people have celiac sprue, where it literally will put them in the hospital if they eat gluten. Other people have a gluten intolerance, where it really puts the hurt on them, but it's not like a hospitalizable event. But I think that if you really monitored any human closely enough, you would see some inflammation after they eat gluten or any of the grains. For example, corn, which is a grass seed, corn has zein, Z-E-I-N, in it, which is a gluten-like molecule. All the plants put these type of phytochemicals in their seeds. I don't think you can heal gluten intolerance. I think that I'm glad that you're gluten intolerant, and I'm glad you know it. So you just don't ever eat gluten again. Don't do it. I'm off gluten, but when I go out, even meat has gluten or seasoning with gluten. Most places, if you go to a decent restaurant, you can get meat without any kind of seasoning that contains gluten. Gluten's such a known thing. Most good restaurants are not going to put that in their seasoning. B. Sinning, diagnosed with osteoporosis, weights, and carnivore. What else? So lift heavy things, do impact activities, exercises, and eat your meat, your eggs with the yolks and the seafood. I've got several videos on my YouTube channel about how to strengthen your bones, one about osteoporosis, one about osteopenia, and one about bone strength. Watch all those and do every single thing I say in those videos. You want to make sure you're getting plenty of vitamin D and vitamin K2. There is some research that shows that probably helps a little, but that's not the solution. That's a 1% help. 85% of you being able to strengthen your bones is from weight bearing and then impact activity like jumping jacks, jumping rope, running, things where your heel strikes the ground. That heel impact is a huge signal to your bones that they need to get stronger. And then anytime you're lifting heavy things, your muscles are attached to your bones, and your muscles are giving your bones signals, hey, we're lifting heavier stuff. You're going to have to get stronger here. And then D3K2. And for the vast majority of the people, that's all you need to know. And just keep doing that. And then the next thing is to take a daily dose of vitamin P, which is patience, because bones can get stronger. They do get stronger. We've seen it thousands of times in the people in our community when they get a DEXA scan, then they eat a proper human diet and live a proper human life. Then a year later, they repeat the DEXA scan and their bone strength has improved. We've seen this thousands of times, but it doesn't happen quickly. You can make a muscle stronger in a month or two, but a bone, it's going to take a year before you're going to be able to detect a measurable difference in the bone. So be patient. Richie Guru, I'm transitioning to carnivore and I'm down to rice, potatoes, and beef at the moment. I'm going to stop eating either rice or potatoes. Which one of these would you say is most beneficial or most toxic? So if you're talking about cooked potatoes without the peeling, that's the least toxic. Rice is a grain. Rice is got a gluten-like protein in it. Can't remember the name of the one in rice, but they all have it. I would not eat the rice, especially the whole rice, like the wild rice or the rice that still has the bran and the germ. Don't eat that. I would stop the rice next and stick with peeled, cooked potatoes only until you're ready to just go straight carnivore. Now, I've been OMAD, but can't eat a lot in one meal, only about a pound of meat. I weigh about 200 pounds, 31-year-old male, was eating 2.5 pounds of meat before, wasn't losing weight before, but now I am with OMAD. Is that fine? It is for now. You didn't tell me how tall you are, so I can't mentally calculate kind of your body fat percentage. But if I knew your body fat percentage, I could tell you if it's fine or not. So if your body fat percentage is still 35, 40, 45, 50%, then 100% it's fine to eat one meal a day. Just to eat a pound of meat a day, because you're going to be utilizing your stored fat, which is just like eating fat. And that stored fat is held by connective tissue. And you're going to utilize that and recycle that. And that's just like eating protein. Now, when your body fat percentage gets down to about 30%, then what will happen is, if you're listening to your body, listening to your hunger, is your hunger signal is going to increase. And you're like, oh, I'm hungry. I can eat more now. So yeah, one meal a day is fine as long as you've got stored fat that you still need to lose to improve your health. It's totally fine, totally safe. CRX Joe, thanks Doc. Carnivore for over 4 months, and I feel amazing. My life has changed for the better. I'm 48, and I have the energy I had in my 20s. How many people do you know in their 40s, 50s, and 60s? And they act like they're in their 60s, 70s, or 80s. January the 1st is coming, guys. And if you read CRX Joe's comment again, my life has changed for the better. I'm 48, and I have the energy I had in my 20s. Don't you want some of that? World Carnivore Month is coming January 1st. Just a few days away. 7 days? 7 days is just enough time to clean out your pantry, clean out your cabinets, clean out your fridge, get rid of all the carbs, get rid of all the wheat, rice, oats, corn, soybean, get rid of all the sugar, added sugar, and naturally occurring sugar, get rid of all the vegetable seed oils. Plant butter's junk, throw it in the garbage. Vegetable shortening is junk, throw it in the garbage. And fill up your pantry, your cabinet, and your fridge with real human food, whether that's keto food, ketovore food, or carnivore food. Now, I always have to add this. If I say keto, I'm not talking about keto bread and keto pie and keto pancake syrup. That's not real keto. That's marketing. Real keto is meat, low-carb vegetables, eggs with the yolk, seafood, a few low-carb nuts, a few berries. That's keto, real whole food. Real whole food keto, which works for many, many people. Some people have to go ketovore, which is lower carb. Some people have to go carnivore, which is the lowest carb option of all. All these things are on the proper human diet spectrum. Now, if you're like, I like the sound of a proper human diet, Dr. Berry, but I don't really know what that means. Down in the show notes on Facebook and YouTube, there's a link. You can get a free copy of my 60-page Proper Human Diet Guidebook. I'll email you a free copy. And you can make as many copies as you want for your friends and neighbors. But I'll send you one copy for free. No strings attached, no gimmick, just a free copy, because I want to get the word out there. Then you'll know what are proper human diet foods and what are not. It's almost like putting on armor when you go out into the world. If you know the principles of a proper human diet, you go in a restaurant, you look at the menu, you're like, nope. None of this is real food. Here's some real food. I'll have that. When you go in a supermarket, you're walking through the middle of the store and you're like, no, this is real food. This is not even real food. These are food-like products. You get on the outer aisle, you see some food. Oh, there's some meat. That's real food. There's some eggs. Yep, that's real food. Dairy's real food. Nuts. Yep. Berries, vegetables. Yeah, that's all real food. Proper Human Diet Guidebook. You can get a free copy. Well done, CRX Joe. Keep it up. Thank you, Jethro. Hey, Holly Crazy, my old friend. Good to see you. Not old chronologically, but old as in amount of years we've known each other. Don't get it twisted, y'all. Chris Black, please comment on keto carnivore for stromal cancer that has metastasized to the liver and lymph nodes. I'll just put it to you this way, Chris, and you can do with this what you will. I've got interviews on my YouTube channel with several cancer specialists, Dr. Thomas Seyfried, Dr. Dave Harper, Dr. Deming, and there's one more whose name I forgot. You need to watch all those. All cancer loves sugar. This is not arguable. Some cancers can limp by without sugar, but no solid tumor cancer can thrive and metastasize without sugar. So when you eat a diet that's low in sugar, that's going to keep your blood sugar at a very low normal level. And that's going to not starve the cancer to death, but it's going to starve the cancer. Cancer is going to be weakened. It's not going to be able to just take over and run the show. A real whole food ketogenic diet or ketovore or carnivore is going to help your body fight the cancer. And it's going to help your cancer doctor help you fight the cancer. More and more oncologists, cancer specialists are coming on board, and they're taking the donuts and the cookies out of their office. And they're saying, look, you need to be eating low carb because that's going to help me, the cancer doctor, help you, the cancer patient, to not only beat this cancer, but almost more importantly, to beat it. Sure, you want to beat it, but what else? You want to keep it gone forever. And more oncologists are starting to recommend keto, ketovore, and carnivore to their cancer patients, especially if they have a solid tumor cancer like colon cancer, prostate cancer, stomach cancer, brain cancer, thyroid cancer, lung cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. You need to be eating as low carb as you possibly can and not drinking any sugar. Don't drink any sugar. So that includes obviously Coke and Pepsi, Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew. Those are literal cancer food. Yeah, I said it. Coca-Cola is food for cancer. Yes. Guess what else is food for cancer? Orange juice, grape juice, apple juice, pomegranate juice, any fruit juice. Just as high in sugar, in some cases higher in sugar than a soft drink. Fructose is a big part of the sugar in fruit juice. And my good friend, Dr. Nick Norwitz, on his YouTube channel has got some information about fructose and how that is very helpful to cancer. Cancer loves it when you drink lots of high fructose corn syrup or lots of table sugar, lots of cane sugar. Cancer's not choosy. It loves all the sugars. So if you have a solid tumor cancer, you've got to eat as low carb as possible and don't ever drink any sugar whatsoever, either natural or added. Good question. Joey, my husband started Ketovore 2 months ago, and his A1C went from 11.1, which is terrible, down to 6.0. He's reversed his type 2 diabetes. He had terrible type 2 diabetes, Joey. But the nurse said, he'll always be diabetic. What are your thoughts? Well, here's what I want you to ask the nurse, Joey, next time you go in. Say, nurse, can you tell me what's the definition of type 2 diabetes? What's the definition? If a doctor was going to explain it to me, or you as a nurse, what's the definition? And she would say, well, it's when your A1C is 6.5 or higher. And that's true. Or it's when you really fail a 1 hour or a 3 hour glucose tolerance test. That's true. Or it's when you have a random blood sugar check that's above 200. Those are the literal definitions of type 2 diabetes. So your husband doesn't have that anymore. Therefore, by definition, your husband no longer has type 2 diabetes. Now, he's still pre-diabetic, so he's got some more work to do, Joey, which I'm sure you know. Don't be nagging at him. Be lovingly helpful, okay? Keep plenty of eggs and steak and seafood and all the right stuff at his beck and call, because we want him to get completely rid of this pre-diabetes that he has now, because he's already reversed his type 2 diabetes. And I want you to help teach this nurse This nurse is operating under the old, incorrect paradigm, and I want you to help educate this nurse. Well done, Joy's husband. Valeria, Dr. Berry, anything critical for carnivores when trying for first baby or just before pregnancy? Merry Christmas. Yeah, I want you to really, Valeria, if you're trying to get pregnant with your first baby, I want you to really try to include some liver. It can be chicken liver, cod liver. It can be beef liver if you like that, but it doesn't have to be beef liver. But you need to find some kind of liver and cook it some kind of way so that you like it. Now, some women are like, I'm just never going to eat liver, so I recommend the ancestral supplements, Carnivore capsules. You take 6 a day, it's like getting 2 ounces of liver. It's not as good as eating liver. And the ancestral supplement people know I say that. It's not as good as eating liver, but it is second best. And second best is way the hell better than last place. So if you're just, until you learn to like liver, you can use some kind of desiccated liver supplement. That's going to go a long way towards giving you all the vitamins and minerals you need, Valeria. But cod liver is very mild. If you cook chicken liver properly, you can bread it in some Parmesan cheese and smushed up pork rinds and then fry it in bacon grease. It's freaking good. You can cut it up in little pieces. Don't try to eat the whole liver in one bite. Cut it up like almost like in little what did they used to popcorn chicken? Remember that? You can cut the chicken liver up like that. Bread it with pork panko, which is crushed pork rinds, and fry it in bacon grease. It's freaking amazing. And it's literally like taking a multivitamin, multi-mineral that actually has stuff in it that helps you. So I highly recommend doing that. Be as active as you can. I want you to be as strong as you can. I want you to be in really good shape. But you've got to eat your eggs with the yolk. You've got to eat your seafood. You've got to eat all the meat, and you got to try to get some liver in. That way your body, and you want to keep the carbs really, really low. More and more fertility specialists are telling women, especially women who are having trouble conceiving, you got to go very low carb. Dr. Robert Kiltz, board certified fertility specialist in New York State. Every single woman that comes to him who's having trouble getting pregnant, the first thing he does is puts them on a high-fat carnivore diet. More and more fertility specialists are doing this because it increases their success rate. Yeah, all these doctors, cancer doctors, fertility doctors, they keep a running success rate. What percentage of people with cancer have we cured the cancer? What percentage of women who couldn't conceive have I, as a doctor, helped conceive? And what doctors are noticing is when I tell women to eat fatty meat, more fatty meat, eat all the fatty meat, they get pregnant more often. And it's because it's so nutrient dense. It's a signal to your body. Hey, there's plenty of food around. This would be a great time to have a baby. Let's get pregnant. Also, many women have PCOS, hyperinsulinemia, chronic inappropriate inflammation in and around their ovaries and fallopian tubes caused by their diets. And when they clean that diet up and get all the junk out, which means you're going to be eating lots more fatty red meat, all of a sudden their PCOS goes away, the inflammation settles down, and they're able to get pregnant. Let us know, Valeria, if that works, when it works. You can post a picture of that beautiful new addition. Marie, sister-in-law is on Ozempic, says I'm doing wrong because eating meat and lifting weights. How do I respond? You respond by smiling and nodding, Miss Marie. You and your sister-in-law probably argued many times in your career. And whether you win or lose, you still lose. It's not worth arguing about. Just say, well, honey, good. Go do your Ozempic. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Why would you need to argue? Let the results speak. So when she winds up in a year or two with gastroparesis, or she winds up in a year or two and just literally is sick because there's no long-term studies showing the safety of the new higher doses of Ozempic or Wegovy or Zepbound or Mounjaro, there's the experiment is your sister-in-law right now. She's the lab rat, because we don't know what these higher doses are going to do long term. But we know that human beings have been eating fatty red meat and lifting weights for millions of years. It's very safe. It's very healthy. So I predict you'll win, but don't try to win the argument. I want you to win at life. So just smile and nod and say, yeah, girl, you take your Ozempic. That's fine. I'm going to keep eating my meat and lifting weights. And we'll see in a year or two who's winning. Omega effect. Been diagnosed with AFib. I hear mixed results, lots with carnivore pre-diet. I don't know if it was caffeine, hypertension, or low vitamin D or sleep apnea because I snore. Can it be reversed? Yeah, we've had hundreds and hundreds of people who had AFib, and then when they went keto, ketovore, or carnivore, their AFib became way less severe. They would have flare-ups way less often. And also your sleep apnea is almost certainly caused by fatty tongue. And if you go carnivore, you're going to reverse your fatty tongue along with fatty liver and fatty pancreas and fatty heart and fatty lung and fatty kidney, all of which are real things that doctors never talk about. You'll reverse all those things and improve your health tremendously, and your blood pressure will come down. If your vitamin D is low, I've got a YouTube video called Vitamin D Rich Foods. 7 foods you can eat and get all the vitamin D you need, plus go out and play in the sun. I know it's winter right now, so if you can't go out and play in the sun, then you'll take 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3 a day to keep your vitamin D levels up in the winter. Jeffrey, 3 months carnivore, started with a 20-day water fast. I had hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and obstructive sleep apnea, and I had arthritis, but they're all gone now. Blood pressure is back to normal. Type 2 diabetes is gone. Sleep apnea is gone. Arthritis pain gone. Recent ultrasound still showed fatty streaks in the liver. Thought it would be gone. Yeah, it's very rare that you would still have that. I would almost get a second opinion. Ultrasound techs and radiologists are so used to seeing fatty liver that they just kind of expect everybody to have it. You might go back and ask your doctor to ask the radiologist to do an overread. Just make sure I still have fatty liver, because I find that very hard to believe. 99% of the time, after you reverse type 2 diabetes and hypertension and sleep apnea, remember guys, I was just talking about fatty tongue. Here you go. Jeffrey Cox used to have sleep apnea. Now he don't, because of a carnivore diet. This is how you do it. Okay. So beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Yeah, absolutely. Do it. Wear it out. But ask the radiologist to overread that ultrasound, because I bet they overread it. William, how do carnivores meet the RDA for calcium? Well, most of them don't worry about it. Calcium is one of many minerals that you get enough of on a carnivore diet, and you probably don't need as much calcium as the RDI says, because the RDI was set in a population of bread eaters. Just like if you're eating a high carb diet, you need more vitamin C in your diet. You need more calcium in your diet. But when you're eating very, very low carb, you don't need as much vitamin C. And I don't think you need as much calcium. But I have a video on my YouTube channel about how you can use eggshells to get all the calcium you would ever want for free, literally free. And so check out my eggshell hack video if you're worried about calcium. But I don't think the vast majority of people need to do that. A lot of people save up the eggshells and put it in their bone broth when they're cooking bone broth, and that'll leach some of the calcium out. Some people just grind the eggshells up. And I give you step by step how to do this so it's safe and easy on that YouTube video about the eggshell hack. But you can get all the calcium out of the eggshells. Also, there's many other minerals in eggshells you can take advantage of with that trick. Oh, here's Joey B again, or about her hubby. Trigs are 114, which is normal. HDL is 40, which I'd like to be higher than that. LDL 118. Doc said take a statin. He's never had heart problems. Should he take it? No. This is not medical advice, but no. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your husband's doctor. But if he were my brother, I would be like, no. CRX Joe, I have no more joint pain with carnivore. Remember CRX Joe from earlier. Spectre, can PTSD, lack of sleep, keep A1C high on carnivore? It can to some extent. Now, what may be happening to you, depending on how high it is, if it's just 1 or 2 tenths of a point high, me and Professor Ben Bickman, we've been talking about this for a couple of years now. There is research that shows that when you're eating a nutrient-dense, healthy, uninflammatory diet, your red blood cells live longer. The average red blood cell lives 110 days on average. Some live 90, some live 120, but on average, about 110 days. But we know that if you're drinking alcohol like a fish, your red blood cells don't live nearly as long, and that can give you a falsely low A1C. But if your red blood cells are living longer, that gives them more time to glycate, even with normal blood sugar. And we see this in a few carnivores, not all carnivores, but some carnivores, they'll have a 5.7 or 5.8 A1C. But then when you check a test called a fructosamine, which doesn't check for fructose glycation, it checks for glucose glycation, even though fructose in the name. Fructose is the Greek word prefix for sugar, fructosamine. If your fructosamine is normal, then you've got a falsely high A1C as a carnivore. Good question. Soul Train. Remember that show? I don't. I just watch reruns. I was way too young for Soul Train. Can a 35-year-old male that is 320 pounds and 5'9" get below 200 pounds in a year? If so, what can that person do? Asking for a friend. Yeah, Soul Train, 100%. Now, a woman is 320 and 5'9", it may take a year and a half. But if your friend gets on a very sufficient fat, high fat or sufficient fat carnivore diet, lots of fatty red meat, lots of eggs with the yolk, fatty seafood, chicken livers once or twice a week, they can eat 1 or 2 meals a day and then fast for 18 hours a day or 20 hours a day. And then maybe 1 or 2 days a week, they can do a 1 day a week fast, 2 day fast every other week. A man, it's not fair, ladies, but you know it's true. Men lose weight more linearly than women. Women lose weight like this, like stall. Okay, now I'm losing more. Men just lose weight. So yeah, your friend absolutely can get down very close to 200, if not below 200 in 12 months from 320 pounds. Yes, absolutely. Now, if your friend does carnivore for a year and winds up after 12 months at 220 pounds instead of 320, didn't quite make it under 200, but I think your friend will still be happy at 220, don't you? Yeah, I think so. Good question. I'm glad you asked that for your friend. Bears fan Jim, Doc said I have osteoarthritis. How well will carnivore prevent flare-ups? Tens of thousands of people have told me, Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Chafee, Professor Bigman, Dr. Tony Hampton. We hear it all the time. I used to have severe arthritis pain in my knees or in my thumbs or in my shoulders or in my hips. And now that I'm on a carnivore diet or even a meat-heavy keto diet or meat-heavy ketovore, I just don't have the pain and stiffness in my joints anymore. They're just better. And we've heard this tens of thousands of times. It's very common. Doesn't mean that you're not still going to have some arthritis. It just means it's going to bother you 90% less, in some cases more. Vicky, is all Hashimoto's considered thyroiditis? Yes. By definition, Hashimoto's is an autoimmune thyroiditis. That's the definition of it. And for those of you women out there, if you suspect you have Hashimoto's, your doctor must order a TPO antibody and a TG antibody, or they will never know whether you have Hashimoto's or not. So many doctors, if you go say, I think I've got Hashimoto's, I don't know, I got all the symptoms, they'll check a TSH and a T4 and then proceed to tell you, oh no, you don't have it, everything's normal. That's not even how you diagnose Hashimoto's. You have to check a TPO antibody and a TG antibody, or you're blind. You have no idea if this person has Hashimoto's or not. So make sure they check those two tests. All right, guys. Any final questions? See if I can find one. Here's Zoe Pike. My type 2 diabetes is was gone on keto and now even better on carnivore. Wish I had found it sooner. So everybody watching, if you have type 2 diabetes right now or prediabetes, or you know someone who does, please take a screenshot of Zoe Pike's comment and send it to your friend or to your mama, whoever's got type 2 or prediabetes. Say, look, you can reverse this. You literally can make it go away by eating a proper human diet. And so send them a screenshot of Zoe Pike's comment so that they see here's a real person that reversed it. And then print out a copy of the Proper Human Diet Guidebook. There's a link down in the show notes on YouTube and Facebook. Print out a copy of that and give that to them and show them Zoe's comment and say, this little book I got for free is 60 pages long. Here, you can reverse your own type 2 diabetes. You won't have to take any medicine for it. You won't have to take insulin. You won't have to take injections if you're type 2. Yeah, this is totally true. Totally true. Viviana, I always had high cholesterol. Now I have 170 LDL, which is fine. Triglycerides are 50, which is great. And my HDL is 170, which is very high. My doctor's always angry with me because I won't take statins, I think what she meant. Am I wrong? I am a healthy person. Viviana, if you're a healthy person, I assume you're a woman, and I assume you've never had a heart attack or stents in your heart arteries or a heart artery bypass. If you've never had any of that, you keep doing what you're doing. Tell your doctor to shut the hell up. Yeah, here's Coach Paola. She's one of our coaches in our private community. She's a Primal Health certified health coach. Without testing your thyroid antibodies, there's no way that they can diagnose you accurately with Hashimoto's, or there's no way they can say you don't have Hashimoto's. Coach Powell is exactly right. Guys, we've got over 10 coaches, just like Coach Powell, in our private community. And it's gated because we can't let the whole world in, or it would be like my YouTube lives. There'd just be so many questions I can never answer them. So we've got it's $15 a month to get in the door. We've got over 10 Primal Health certified coaches in there. Great coaches like Coach Powell. There's a link in the show notes on this YouTube and Facebook video that you can become a member of our tribe, of our community. Now, you think there's thousands of people in there, and they are ready. They're ready for World Carnivore Month. They're ready for the new year. They're already working on getting healthier. They're not going to wait to January 1. They're already running challenges in there right now. Get ready for January 1. So if you want 2025 to be the year where you kicked ass and took names, join our community. There's a link in the show notes. I promise you it's worth every penny. I promise you. And if you don't like it, you can get all your money back. 100%. Let me get one or two more here. Yeah, I like it. Where did that go? Dang it. These things go so fast. Yes. Dennis Ward said, share this video with friends. How many of you guys watching this right now even know about me because a friend shared one of my videos with you, either one of my YouTube videos, or they sent you an email or a text, or they shared it on their social media, and you're like, who's this redneck doctor from Tennessee? Please click the share button and share this on your favorite social media, or send it to a friend or a family member who you know they need this information. And preface it, say, look, I love you. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not making fun of you because you're overweight or obese or have diabetes. I want you to reverse it. I want you to be healthy for decades. I don't want you to suffer all the time. Watch this video, please. So thank you for sharing. And thank you, Dennis Ward, because I know you're around often. Good to at says, I share you with everyone. Thank you. That's the way we're going to save the health of the world, guys. You know, if you're in the keto carnivore community, you think everybody knows all this stuff. 90% of people walking the streets have no idea. If you said, oh, you should eat a proper human diet, they would not even know what that means. I had one guy the other night, he said He said, I got your free copy of your Proper Human Diet Guidebook. I took it to Kinko's and I made 100 copies and I took them to church because he goes to one of those big mega churches. He took 100 copies and just put them in the front there where people could just take a free copy. And he said after church, they were all gone. All of them are gone. People are hungry for this information. So don't think you're going to annoy somebody by sharing this. I promise you, especially if you've been improving your health, you don't think they see that? They see you every day. They're like, he looks better. She looks happier. What are they doing? Tell them. Vicky, need cataract surgery. Will this cause under eye bags from stretching the lids for surgery? No, good question, but no, don't be afraid of that. I'm 71 and very vain. I understand. I know you're beautiful, Vicky. You will be beautiful after the cataract surgery. They do stretch your lids, but it's not like they're not like stretching them like you're having a baby out of your eye hole. It's not that bad, okay? And your eyelids will go right back to the way they started. I promise. Have a baby out of your eye hole. Joe says he tries not to be an a-hole, but sometimes he fails. I understand, Joe. We all fall short. We've all, somebody, I don't know if I can find that. Yeah, Colleen said, I've been told all my life I'm allergic to iodine. Colleen, I have good news for you. You're not allergic to iodine. There is no human being alive on planet Earth, watching this video or otherwise, who is truly allergic to iodine. There is no such thing as an iodine allergy. I have YouTube videos about iodine that will help you understand why I would say something is inflammatory. And that goes directly against what your doctor might have told you. But I promise you, once you've watched my videos about iodine, you'll be like, oh, it's literally impossible for me to be allergic to iodine. Yes, that's correct. It's impossible. Completely impossible. You are not allergic to iodine. Amber, any thoughts on sensations in the liver area while on carnivore? I freaked out and stopped carnivore and the sensation stopped, but all my other issues came back. Right. That's the problem, Amber. What you may have been feeling was the fat leaving your liver. Now the truth of the matter is you don't really have nerve endings in your liver. You can't really feel what's going on in your liver. Now around your gallbladder and your biliary tree, you do have nerve endings. And so if you're feeling some uncomfortable pain-like sensation in your right upper abdomen, you need to go see your doctor. It's probably not carnivore causing that. You probably have something else going on. All right, let me see if I can find one more. We already did Amber. Yeah, we got Amber. Ron Burgundy, I wish you'd have typed it in right here and I would have answered it, but I'm looking. I can't see it. Let me look. Ron Burgundy, if I can't find it, if you'll reach out to one of the moderators, Paola, or one of the other moderators, they'll get your question to me because I don't want you to waste a super chat. I try to answer every super chat if I can. Oh, here's a good question. Some suggestions about the holidays and eating. So you're going to go to your mama's for Christmas, or worse, you're going to go to your in-laws. How are you going to stay keto or ketovore or carnivore in that kind of environment? Well, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to Nisha's families for Christmas. I'm going to eat as much steak and cod liver and egg yolks as I can before I go. I'm not going to go to Christmas dinner hungry. That's a recipe for disaster. Because I'm a sugarholic. I'll just tell you right up front. I'm not proud of it, but I'm also not ashamed of it. I know me. I'm a sugarholic. If I get there and I'm starving, and they're like, "Oh, we've got this. It's got a little sugar. It's okay. Oh, we've got this. It's got some shit. It's okay." I would eat all that shit because I'm a sugar addict and I'm hungry. It's hard to fight addiction and hunger at the same time. So eat until you can't eat your stuff before you go, especially if you're a sugar addict or a carb addict. Then when you go, the first thing you're going to fill up your plate with is the meat and the eggs. Everybody has meat and deviled eggs for the Christmas holidays. If they don't, why are you going to a vegan dinner? That's dumb. Don't do that. Fill up on the meat and eggs. Even if you're not really hungry, go ahead and eat some more meat and eggs. I want the food right here. So when they do start cutting the pies and cakes and passing them around, you're still going to be tempted, but it's going to be way less difficult for you to either say, no, I'm stuffed, I'll get some later. Because you don't want to just say, no, I'm on a carnivore diet and that is the ball sweat of Satan. You don't want to be like that at the Christmas dinner. Don't do that. Just say, oh, I'm going to get some in a little while, not right now. That way you've kind of given them an offhand comment like, oh, it looks so good. I'm going to get some, but right now, I'm full. I can't right now. I'll get some before we leave. Because they're not going to be keeping score. They're not going to know what you do. If they are, then they're weird, and who cares what they say? And they're like, oh, okay, I understand. But if you're like, no, I'm keto. No, don't be that. Don't be that person. Just say I'm full. And you are. It's not a lie. Or if you're like, yeah, it's going to hurt her feelings if I don't take at least one bite of her lemon pie or her coconut cake or whatever the hell. Yeah, but you're up to here. And you're like, I got room for one bite. Oh, God, it's so good. And you can make all kinds of orgasmic sounds. Oh, my God, I feel like my soul is elevated to another plane, whatever makes Granny happy. And then that's it. You don't eat anymore because you're literally ready to puke if you eat one more bite. That's what I do. Always you can take a keto or a carnivore dish. Nobody's going to yell at you if you walk in with a big plate of grilled ribeye. Who's going to yell at you? Except the vegans. And remember, you're not going to their Christmas dinner. All right, guys. If you want to get a free copy of the Proper Human Diet Guidebook, it's 60 pages long. I will email you a free copy. There's a link in the show notes. If you need support, if your spouse is like, I'm not going to do this keto with you. I'm not doing carnivore with you. I'm not doing that. I'm going to eat the Oreos. You can do whatever you want. You got no support. Join our community. We got thousands of people waiting for a little keto brother or sister, a little carnivore brother or sister who they've already transformed their health and they've got it. They've got it down pat. And they're like, yes, come, we'll help you. There's a link in the show notes for the Proper Human Diet Guidebook. There's a link in the show notes to join our community. I do 3 or 4 extra live Q&As inside the community every week. Our coaches do live Q&As. We have guests. Recently, we had Michelle Hearn, registered dietitian, in there. Dr. Laura Buchanan. We've had Dr. Eric Westman in there. Also, anytime I do an interview with somebody on my YouTube channel, I do it live in front of our private community. So they get to ask the expert questions while we're live. Regular folks on YouTube don't get that privilege. They just get to watch the replay. So if you want to ask the thought leaders in the keto carnivore world your questions when I'm live with them, you need to be part of our community. All right, guys, that's it. I'm out. Thanks for sharing this. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. I'll see you next time.